A lot of people are saying Liverpool should play a 4-3-3, myself included. That's the formation there. I think we should go for from here on in. But a lot of people are saying we should play a 4-1-2-1-2. I entirely disagree with this. I made a vid actually recently in the last international break saying why this could be a viable option. However, after some critical thinking, after literally just watching the video and be like, George, what are you on about? I don't think it works at all. The problem with this formation, there's so many problems. And by the way, if you're new around here, make sure you do leave a like down below. Also, you can hype the video now. So where it says like, scroll to the right, it says the button hype. It's a new thing on YouTube. It pushes videos out. So please do feel free to do that. Thank you very much. The problem for me, and let me know your thoughts down below on the narrow diamond. The problem for me is this: no one plays this damn thing in the league. Real Madrid had success with a 4-3-1-2 kind of similar thing, but even at times that looked a bit disjointed, and I wasn't entirely convinced. This formation is not used widely. Certainly, maybe in the Serie A, in the Ligue 1, I don't really know, but certainly not in the league we play in the Premier League. No one uses this, and I'm sat there thinking, well, why should we use it then? There must be a clear trend, right? You follow the trend. You follow the leader, really, here. If someone's using this and having success with it, maybe, I don't know, Bournemouth or Brentford, they're the outlier. Maybe you go, well, it can have success in the league, but no one's doing a narrow diamond. And I'd probably stretch that to the word right now, or at least having success with it. And I look at the teams who, I mentioned the Serie A before, the teams who have had success with this formation before tend to come from that league, and no better than the AC Milan side of 04-05. I watched that final. I'm sure many of you have as well. They are just a better team than us. This team now, they're better in their individual roles, therefore they can play that formation. They had 4 unbelievable midfield players: Kaka at the tip, Gattuso, Seedorf and Pirlo at the base. Yeah, we've got very good individuals like that, but to cater for this formation, to fit this team and the profiles needed to make this formation work, I don't think we have that particularly. I have no issues with Szoboszlai, and we'll get onto the fullbacks later because that is so important. We'll talk about them fullbacks, just hang on. I have no issues with Szoboszlai. Because obviously in this you've got to you're very narrow, right? That's the whole point of this. You're very narrow. Your fullbacks have to provide width. Your forwards have to maybe come wider. But certainly your midfield players need to provide width and cover, certainly in the press, in wide areas where Szoboszlai will maybe be here. McAllister likewise will be off the left. And I've got no issues with Dominic Szoboszlai doing that role there as a right 8. I think he's fantastic. Box to box. He can cover the wide areas. He's got the physical attributes to do that. You then go to McAllister. McAllister, not to mention, by the way, he's having a poor season, right? He's struggling to kind of find his groove. We know what he can do, and he's not delivering there. He's a world-class footballer, but off the ball for me, I think certainly a lot weaker than Szoboszlai, but in my opinion, not good enough to play in this left zone. I don't think he can press high in the wide areas to the level Szoboszlai can. So that's your issue there. You had like Gattuso, who just covered so much ground, and like Seedorf, who was physically more so than McAllister, in my opinion. From the little game time I've seen, I just believe a 4-3-3, when you've got, ignore the players for now, just positionally, when you've got a player here in Gakpo, whoever, McAllister don't have to come wide to cover that zone. He can operate in his best position, which is a left 8, not so much a left winger, which he might be tucking into, or going wide into, I should say, in this formation. Yeah, I get your best players on the pitch. Yeah, I get you get an Isak and Wirtz and Salah and Ekatike can easily come and just replace one of these two in the odd game. And Szoboszlai could play as a 10 in the odd game, and Curtis Jones could fill in, but on paper it looks great, but just because the formation works on FIFA don't mean it works for us, right? I want to go back to that AC Milan side, because I think the midfield's a problem. Certainly on this left-hand side, I don't think he can do it. Right now, certainly. But it's the fullbacks, right? Formations are all about give and take. What you make up for, you've got to give up something, right? So, for example, this formation's so narrow, you pack the midfield, you'd find a numerical advantage in pretty much every game you play with this box. Teams have struggled to go through the midfield. Therefore, you go wide. Look at the Crystal Palace side, play 3-4-3. Even when we play a 4-3-3, they had the advantage on the widths because they've got Munoz attacking down the right, who's been fantastic in both games against us. That would just be further exaggerated if we played Palace with this team here. Yeah, the argument could be, well, we'll just play down the middle. Like, stop that. But realistically, if they go wide and they get a chance like they did, which they did get when we had wingers, they're going to take it even more so against this formation here. So I don't think that's the reason people don't play this narrow diamond for me. I don't think it fits the style of football that works, certainly in the Premier League, certainly with the tempo, certainly with so much now going down the widths and fullbacks overlapping like they do. This don't work in my opinion, hence why no one plays it. It's not a coincidence. People haven't just decided overnight, I'm not going to play that narrow diamond today, just for a change. They're not playing it for a reason. Why should we change the narrative and why should we break the mould from the season? Break the mould, sorry. and you look at the fullbacks, okay, then we'll just use what we maybe lack in width, we'll make up for in the middle. I don't think it's as simple as that. And what we make for in the middle, we lack on the widths, right? Which is why Kirkers and Bradley have such an enormous job here if we were to play a narrow diamond. And I go back to that AC Milan side of 2004-05. You had, Cafu, the name we're talking about here, and Maldini as your left and right backs. Obviously, they will be much more suited to playing in this kind of position. Because, simply put, they're better footballers. They are two of the best fullbacks of all time. Not saying Kirkers won't be that. Probably, to be fair, probably won't. But listen, I've no doubt that Kirkers could really do well playing in this kind of wing-back thing. And I'm all for him being a wing-back in this team. In the 4-3-3, which is where I've got us playing, I think we should move forward in. I've got him attacking the game, getting forward, impacting the game, high up the pitch like he was doing at Bournemouth, not tucking into a back three. So whilst I appreciate he will have success doing that, not to the extent of a Maldini or a Cafu. Certainly Cafu, right? Maldini was certainly more defensive than Cafu was, I'd say. But Cafu compared to Conor Bradley, you're asking a lot of him there. There's a reason AC Milan could play a narrow diamond, because they had the players to do it. They had the players, like Cafu, to almost take up two positions in one, to cover this wide area and to cover the width that is now lacking because Salah's tucked into the middle. Do you get my point there? That's my first point. I think that's the most important point, to be fair, in terms of our fullbacks who haven't started the season like a house on fire electrically well. They've not. So, don't think they can do it, maybe, but not with McAllister in front of him, in my opinion. Not with a Konate next to him right now. I think if you get forward, you're leaving Konate so exposed. Is it a good thing that you have two midfield players in front of Gravenberch? Yes, for me. We need to play with a single. We need to play with a holding midfield player. But in my opinion, just playing a 4-3-3 is so much better. Obviously, Isak will be up front. Off the left, I mean, that's another point, right? I made a list of points before this, and I've closed the friggin' tab. So I'm kind of working through this off the dome. I think one of the biggest points is this, and people disagree with this, and I might end it on this because I appreciate I've gone on a bit here about why we shouldn't play a formation. International break content, right? If you enjoyed, do leave a like, and if you want to see more of this kind of thing, do let me know, because I'm fascinated by people's opinions on our team and how they would take it forward. I don't think it should be this. Gakpo's not been very good in the last 3 games, in my opinion. Does that reflect his season so far? For me, no. He's actually been really good this year. Maybe not really. He's actually been good this year, in my opinion. Certainly underrated and overhated, in my opinion. But, as bad as he's been the last 3 games, he's still a valuable part of this team. He's still one of the... I was going to say senior members. He's not really a senior member, is he? One of the more senior players. I mean, we've signed like 5-6 players now, so he's been here longer than a lot of players. He's a valuable part of this team. Where do you play him? If you're playing a narrow diamond, tell me right now, where do you play Gakpo? If your argument is we should play 4-1-2-1-2, even though no one else plays it and no one's had success with it in years, where would you play Gakpo? Tell me now. You don't know, do you? He's a left-sided winger. Do you play him as a left 9? No. Do you play him as an attacking midfield? No. Do you play him as a left back? Sod it. Let's just have fun with this. Like, what are you doing here? Gakpo is isolated out of this team. He's immediately excluded. And is that worth it? Along with Engamoa. Why promote Engamoa and give him the keys to this team and then just drop him because he don't now fit in the system? Does he play as a left 9? No. I think Gakpo's certainly more suited to play in that role than Engamoa. I look at Federico Chiesa, who has had success in the 10 this year for me and maybe up front at times, but he's a winger. He's a wide player at heart. He's a fast, wide player who wants to take players on and put balls in. In my opinion, I don't really get it. And I look at the midfield as well. This is my point. So I'll end it on this. I actually will end it on this. I would go for a 4-3-3. I've said this many times before. Wirtz is not a left winger. I think with the width that Kirkers will offer, Wirtz will be playing in the left half space. He's a left attacking player, right? Shouldn't this labelling thing? He's a left winger. He is a central midfield player. He is can't players just play kind of in the positions in the zones, right? Wirtz will be off the left of the striker, like he was at Leverkusen. It's as simple as that. It worked there. Why can't it work for us? What was I saying there? Yeah, if you play Wirtz here and you want to bring him off, you bring Gakpo on as a natural replacement. If you're playing a 4-1-2-1-2 with Salah there, and you want to bring Wirtz off, who do you play in the 10? Chiesa? Maybe. You don't play Gakpo there. Gakpo's immediately, again, excluded from the team. You could play Katika there, but I would rather him be as a 9, personally. You couldn't play Ngamoa there. You're looking at promoting Szoboszlai forward. And therefore there's a hole in midfield. So you bring... Where's Curtis Jones? Jones, 17. You bring Curtis Jones in the team. What if a midfield player gets injured this year? If a midfield player gets injured, you're bringing in Endo, you're bringing in Bajcetic, who's not fit himself, you're bringing in, I don't know, if a midfield player This year, in our 3, which I want to play, let me just put Jones back on the bench. Hopefully you can understand what I'm on about here. If one of these midfield players gets injured for a significant amount of games, I think there is a world in which Wirtz can drop in there. Obviously, your first thought is Jones. Jones is still there. But you've almost got 2 midfield players who can drop in. Say Szoboszlai got injured tomorrow for 3 weeks. Jones could play in there. But also I think Wirtz could play as a 10. As an advanced midfield player in this kind of 2. So it's not the end of the world. But if you're playing a 4-1-2-1-2, you've almost got 4 midfield players there, with a 10 included. So there's a lot more to replace, and Gakpo can't replace one of them. Hopefully you get my point there. Maybe I've worded that terribly. I know what I mean, which doesn't really help in the YouTube sense. But listen, the 4-1-2-1-2, I'd love to hear your thoughts. We've not even spoken about Salah, who, I get the argument for you moving him closer to the goal. He's not. I think his touches in the box have halved on last season, which is not good, obviously. Less touches in box, less goals. But is he a right forward? I'm all for getting him nearer to the goal, but is he a right striker? No, never played there before. Right, really. Not full-time anyway. For me, he's a right winger who can drift, potentially. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below and subscribe so you don't miss a video. Nice one, guys. See you later on. I've changed my profile picture, by the way, so that's good. Look out for me now. That is my new profile picture. Me with a Premier League trophy. Actually, the real trophy, by the way, with the red banners on it. Enlarge it. Have a look at it. Yeah, it's actually the real one. Nice one, guys. Hopefully, we'll win it again this year.